Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of
Formerly Faded.
with Jake and Drew. This is my good friend Jake. I am
Adios.
obviously Drew.
Hello.
So let's lay it out for you guys a little bit. We're starting this podcast. Our mission's basically to introduce you guys today, anyway, to introduce you guys to ourselves.
The main host.
Yes.
Of the show.
Get you guys to know us a little better and kind of dive into our backgrounds, and from there we'll kind of lay out the rest of what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna introduce the shit out of you.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so I guess we're talking to me first.
Okay. So, Drew, give me a little introduction of yourself.
Well, I'm Drew Shepard. I am 29 years old.
Oh,
I know.
So old.
I look old, don't I?
I look old too.
Right? So, yeah, no, I'm a musician and an entertainer, I guess you would say, because I do a little bit of everything. I've been at it for a long time.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I have always been super into music and the arts, whether it be drawing or whether it be acting, whether it be whatever. I've just kind of always been drawn to this sort of thing.
Speaking of music,
Mhm.
how did you get into it?
Well, I can really, obviously everybody listens to music, but my first
True.
real experiences was, like I can remember as a kid, dancing around my house with my dad and listening to music. Well, like while we're cleaning, we'd be sitting there, I'd have a dust rag and stuff and be cleaning stuff down, but I'd take the can and be like air singing and playing air guitar with
Like
each
one of
other
those
and
cartoons.
stuff. Oh yeah, it absolutely just as animated as you could think. And it always just it was just always a part of my life. We were always listening to music. We were always watching shows on TV, and things like that, or watching concerts on TV, I should say. So I kind of developed a bit of a love for it.
Now, we all know music, it involves instruments.
Mm.
Which ones did you play, if you did play any?
Well, actually the first instrument I ever really wanted to play was drums. And I got a little drum set as a kid, and one of those little cheapo ones from Walmart, and I beat the hell out of it. It was the most god-awful sounding thing you've probably ever heard in your entire life.
Oh.
And from there, I remember in school learning how to play guitar a little bit. They had a safe bass class, and so I took it and learned just enough to be terrible, be completely terrible, until I figured out drop D. That's I got a little bit better then, but I'm still not great at all. And I played bass a little bit too, but also not very well. So let's say, I'm well versed and can play all of them, but not well. Singing has always been more my forte, and I'm not even great at that.
Now, yeah, you say you're not good at singing, but that makes me think, what was your first time singing in front of people?
Well, the first time I actually sang in front of people, and my mom she told me, she was like, this is when I knew you could sing. I didn't figure it out till later because I'm kind of an idiot. But third grade, I had a solo in our Christmas concert. I sang Silent Night, and my mama bawled. And that's when she told me, she was like, oh man, that was the moment for her that she knew that I could do this. But my light bulb moment was 7th grade at the talent show. My friend Griffin and I had signed up to do a song together, Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy. And for whatever reason, he ended up not showing up one night to rehearsals or something or other, and I ended up going and doing it by myself. I made a cardboard guitar in art class and went up and sang the song to karaoke, basically. You know, the music without the words. And I went up there and sang it and did the whole thing and headbanged. And I don't. After listening to the video, I'm telling you, it really wasn't great. But I sparked an interest. It really made me want to do something like that. And I had a musical cousin, and so like pretty much every family gathering, we'd get together and he'd bring his guitar and he and I would just sit and just jam. He'd play like we did a lot of Nirvana covers, and trying to sing Nirvana when you're going through puberty.
That's not the easiest.
It's not. It sounded like a dying animal sometimes. But, you know, we had fun and we had good chemistry together. So we did a lot of that. We played a lot of, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers and things like that. Usually just for the fam.
Now, you've come a long way for your background.
Mhm.
What was your first band? And were there any influences into getting into that band?
Okay, so yeah, I briefly just touched on it a little bit. My cousin and I would sit there and we would jam together, and I think it was like eighth grade, end of seventh, early eighth. I think we started a band and we called ourselves. Gosh, we went through a lot of ridiculous names. I think the first one. We tried to be PHB, Professional Headbangers.
Oh,
but someone thought it stood for Pearl Harbor Bombers.
Oh no!
Yeah. So we were like, let's scratch that one real quick. Let's see, what were some of the other ridiculous ones? We went from PHB. I think there was a period of time where we were calling ourselves the Jeffrey Effect. We watched Get Him to the Greek. Let's see. Wrong Turn was a thing for a little while. Slaughtergate was a thing for half a second.
Oh, no.
Dude, yeah, we ran the gambit on bad names. I think the one we finally actually used was Staple. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. We had written some of our own stuff though. Like that was the first band that I actually like wrote some lyrics and things for. Like he would sit and write guitar riffs and I would pull my emo lyrics from my 7th and 8th grade journal. Because, you know, every 7th and 8th grade kid's an emo kid when you're like me.
I'll go through it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and that's really the first time I ever wrote any songs too, was right there, you know. We had one that I called Go Away that was actually played at my sophomore homecoming. And I had, oh yeah, and I was dancing with the girl I wrote it about too at the time. Poetic.
Poetic justice.
Yes. No. So, I mean, yeah, I've been in it for a while.
So, tell us about Crushed.
Okay, yeah, and Crushed was the band that I did a lot with. Honestly, that was the first one that we actually really went out and played shows, and we traveled, and you know, like Riley and I and Staple we had this little mini recording thing, and we would do it ourselves. But I think we only ever played like a talent show one time, and that was it. Whereas with Crushed, you know, Ryan Cochran and Mitch Lucero, which we'll be hearing from them. Yes, most definitely. But anyway, so those guys were friends, and they were a little bit older than me. And, you know, Ryan and I worked together at Safe Base. Actually, in that guitar class, like the very same one that I learned. Like,
coincidence.
Dude, it came full circle. It really did. We were both helpers in there, and so we would sit there and mess around basically the whole time. And he was like, "Man, it'd be really cool if we started a band together." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." Yeah. And, you know, one day I get a phone call, and it's Ryan. He's like, "Hey, so me and my buddy Mitch are starting this band, and we really want you to come out and play with us. Okay, cool. And like I played a little bit of bass at the time, so I went actually to audition as a bass player, and got roped into being the front man. So yeah, we would practice out at Mitch's mom's house in like the back step, and it was like all run down. It wasn't like all run down, but like it was an older house, and there were some electrical problems. So like one time we were standing there and I was singing, and I had a hold of the mic. Well, there had to have been a short or something somewhere, because Ryan handed me his guitar, and I was stuck, like jolted.
Oh no!
Yeah, I couldn't move. We sat there one day and we put two guitars together and watched arc flash in between the strings. Like it was not safe. We'll put it that way. But yeah, I mean, we traveled up and down the road. We went and played shows. Started out here in town, doing little Battle of the Bands things, and I think our first show was at Ryan's parents' backyard on their patio. Yeah, you might have been there, dude. I know your sister was. She was hanging around a lot back then, actually.
She settled down.
Yeah, we all settled down a little bit.
We all do.
But yeah, no. So we played out there, and then I think I'm trying to remember how exactly we got it, but we got to play the Granada in Lawrence, which was like peak, man. That was like, at the time, was like the tippy top of the scale for me. That was like, oh yes, finally we're doing something cool. I think I was at like a Warp Tour or something, and just kind of wrote us down for a Battle of the Bands, and they actually called us, and so we got to play the Granada. And we did a lot of. We played some shows in Emporia. We played some shows out towards Wichita. I mean, we traveled around. And then I don't know. It kind of. It was right after the Granada that we went and recorded our EP. That's what it was. We went to John Eddy, a friend of ours. He actually played in a band called Sweet Ascent.
Heard that guy.
Yeah, John Eddy was a good dude. He had his own little studio set up in his parents' basement out there in Baldwin, and so we all packed up in my little Blazer, all four of us, me, Mitch, Ryan, and Christian Ingram, which we'll be talking to him too, talking about him and to him. We all packed up, we went, we stayed the weekend over there, and we recorded our 5-song EP, and that was fun. I mean, we got to sell our songs to people, we made merch, we did the whole thing, and then life got in the way a little bit.
Tell us about that.
Well, there was a lot of internal power struggle after a while, I guess. And I mean, we've all since talked about it. It's all water under the bridge. It's been squashed, but there for a little while, like Ryan and I would be at odds, both trying to be chief. And I mean, I was going through some heavy stuff at the time anyway, so my mind was all over the place. It wasn't focused on things that it should have been. And I got in a real bad car wreck, and that was one of my first of 8 concussions. And just was kind of doing that whole VH1 special thing, the snobby front guy that was kind of a shit to be around, and then
I can think of a person who would be like that.
Yeah, just kind of ran the whole gambit and was just kind of a real jerk for a little while. And I mean, I went off, and after I left the band, I went and did a whole bunch of drugs and drank a whole bunch and ended up going to rehab even. And I mean, I quit music. I stepped away for over 10 years. Had no intentions of coming back. I would sit there and think about it from time to time. Like, if I did come back, if somehow I'm drawn back in, maybe this is how I do this, or this is how I do that. And I mean, sitting there and doing that for 10 years, you get a bit of a game plan together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was done, dude. I have kids, I had a family, I did the whole thing.
So, you've been through two bands, two breakups. You've gotten to the point where you have settled down, had kids. What got you back into music? Because we know you came back.
Yeah, came back strong too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, honestly, again, it all kind of comes full circle. I got a call from Ryan one day, and he said, "Man, I'm getting married." Wow. Ryan, and for anybody that knows Ryan Cochran, that was like the biggest shocker of my life at the time. Like, I love you, brother, but geez, I was like, Ryan's getting married? Whoa. But he asked me and Mitch, he called us both and he said, "Hey, I wrote this song for my wedding for my wife as a gift to her, and I want you guys to come record it with me, like old times." So yeah, so we did. Mitch knew this guy out in Wichita, Soupstown Studios. Shout out to Chris. Um, which we'll talk about Soupstown's a little bit here too. But yeah, we went out there, recorded the wedding song, and then did the wedding, and we were kicking around, getting crushed back together. Actually, for a little while, we were talking about it, and we were getting excited, but nothing ever really happened. And after a couple months of talking about it but not doing anything, I was like, okay, well, whatever, I guess. That was fun while it lasted, and I started kind of working on my own thing, my own little solo project. I went out and bought the old drum kit from Crushed.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the old kit. I got a bass. I got a bass amp. I had my little guitar and everything, and I was working on my own thing. And from there, again, it all continues to come full circle. I got a call from Mitch one night. It was actually I missed a call from him the night of my birthday in 2019. Halloween night. I was probably passed out. But he calls me back the next night and he says, "Hey, so I met this kid and he plays music. What would you think about starting a band again? Enter Forever Faded." That's kind of the genesis, So me and Mitch and Brandon Brandon knew Troy McCoy, who lives in Chanute, but he was actually one of the first bass players for Puddle of Mud.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so, they'd been jamming together, like he was friends with their kid or whatever, so we went over there one night and we started kicking around and ended up writing a song. We're like, man, okay, cool. So then the three of us would sit together and we'd get together like a couple nights a week, like we'd just grind it out and eventually we ended up getting quite a few songs written. We sat down together, the three of us, and we wrote Faded, which was probably our most popular song that we ever had. I wrote Letters to You, which is probably my favorite song that I've ever written.
I liked it. It's pretty good.
Letters is special, man. I was held up in a hotel room in Springfield, Missouri, and was in a real bad state of mind.
Oh, we're okay. We're happy you're okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. But I just sat there and just kind of started scribbling down on my mad ramblings, and I went back later and looked at it and scratch this here, move this there, turn that here, and bada boom, we got a song out of some crazy gibberish of some guy losing his mind. And then it turned into a song about hope, So that one's always been real special to me.
Good message.
Absolutely. You don't have to go through things alone. But yeah, we from there we had Brandon's little friend David. He was our first bass player. David Semi. Love that kid. He's so cool. And we grinded it out. We went back to Soupstown Studios and we recorded a 9-song demo, The Battle. Some of these people that are going to watch this, they're aware of this, but for the people that aren't, we had a 9-song demo out. We went out and recorded at Soupstown's. That's where Lizard Man got his name, because one morning, basically the layout of it, there was a little basically like a hallway, but it was the vocal booth, and there was sliding glass door, and then it opened into a much bigger room, kind of like this one, where it had all the instruments and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were staying there that weekend, and so like there's bodies are all everywhere out there in the booth or whatever, and that one little vocal booth, because it's January, like I should mention, it's middle of January, it was freezing. So in this little vocal booth, there's a little ceramic heater. Well, Lizard Man stayed in that little booth one night. The rest of us were kind of scattered everywhere else. I was in that other big room. I wake up in the morning to go take a piss. I open this sliding glass door, and I got absolutely bitch slapped with heat.
Oh,
like it was so hot. I walked in there, and that little ceramic heater was up to like 100. So I'm like sitting there kicking him, like, dude, are you alive? Like, what the? Wake up! Like, you're cooking yourself, bro. And he just kind of rolls over, like, So from that moment on, like, we started calling him the Lizard Man. I think Mitch was the one that came up with the name. He was like, he's like a little lizard laying in there on a rock, just soaking up the heat. So, I mean, we did that. We did a lot.
tell us about the songwriting process.
Well, I did a majority of the songwriting. I would sit and either I already had some lyrics written down, because I mean, once I got back in, I was in full swing. You know, I'm just writing whatever comes to mind. I'm writing it, and I can piece it together later. I mean, like I said, I was just mentioned earlier, you know, that's kind of how we did letters. You know, I had it all written out, and they started playing some music, and I was like, oh, hey, hold on a second. Let me move this around, and let's make it work. So we had a lot of songs like that. We had a couple, like Mitch wrote a couple songs. The Battle, like the title track, he wrote Fall Apart. He wrote, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on names now, obviously. But, and then, you know, Lizard Man wrote a couple here or there. He would write like all of the guitar parts. Other than like when Christian came into the fold, he started writing some too, and the two of them would, you know, collaborate. But, yeah, the majority of the songs were just some stuff I had, or I'd walk into the room and they'd be playing something, and I'd say, hey, keep playing that for a little while. Like, hold on, let me go get my notebook and just scribble stuff down randomly. Like, Unchained. That was originally not going to be on The Battle. We wrote it like a couple days before we went to the studio and decided, yo, I really like that. Let's throw it on there. So, I mean, that's... Sometimes you just kind of get struck with it. You get the inspiration. You got to get it down. So, yeah, I mean, that's a majority of the process, and that's kind of how it was all the way through the end. You know, if you had a song that you had written, bring it to the class. Let's look, let's listen, let's figure it out. You know, my job was to put it together, because all I had to do was sing, you know, and do all the managerial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Now, tell us about some of the highs and lows of Forever Faded.
Well, doing the EP was fun. Doing hard copy, we recorded that with Troy.
Sweet.
And oh my gosh, the quality, you heard the difference. Like, we took Faded, Letters, and Unchained from The Battle, and we re-recorded them. Just completely started from scratch, started fresh, completely redid it. And then released These Walls, which was the new one on the EP. That was the only song that we hadn't previously recorded, which, man, These Walls is another one that really gets me too. That one's really special to me as well. I sat there in a like one of the first quarantines, and again, I was not in a really good headspace. You know, my mind is everywhere. I'm bipolar, if anyone didn't know. So I go up and I go down, and there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
I feel it, man. I feel ya.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm like
so,
that too.
right? So I'd sat there and was like just staring at my walls, and bada boom, here comes the song, These Walls. And I don't know, I think the highest of the highs from the whole experience, though, was, man, the All Missouri Music Awards. I can't think of a, I can't think of a better night than that. The only thing that would come close was the night of the release party when we did our music video, because that was perfect too. Like I could die tomorrow and be in a continuous loop of either of those nights and be happy for the rest of eternity. Those were like some of my two most proud evenings. Coming from a small town and writing music and trying to do. And here's the thing: we were a rock band. We're not a country band. We weren't a band that was super mainstream for where we live, but we still, together we achieved some success that people can't take away from us.
Mm-hmm.
There's musicians around here that have never won in anything for their own music, and I mean it was just completely random, completely out of the blue, and all fan voted. So thank all of you. Like that was amazing. Like, I'll never forget that. And I mean, the lows were really I think we all were starting to get burnt out. I know I was. Like I'd mentioned before, I was doing managerial stuff. I was trying to book shows.
Mm-hmm.
I helped set up this whole music video thing that we did. I was talking to other bands and trying to help get shows with them, piggyback into some of their stuff. I was taking care of all the merchandise. I ordered all the CDs and stuff. I paid out of my own pocket probably about half of what we ever made.
Mm-hmm.
That might be exaggerated. I don't know the exact figure. All I know is I did a lot of shit. I wore a lot of hats. And it, again, being how I am up here, I go through my highs and I go through my lows and I go through my productive periods and I go through my not so productive periods. And then there's times where I don't even know what day it is.
Don't we all have those days?
Man, I'm telling you. But really, like, there towards the end, it became so difficult for me to even get excited about doing anything. And I needed some time off. I needed a break. I worked 2 jobs on top of doing all this band stuff and traveling everywhere, playing in all over Missouri. I mean, we traveled so many miles for so little money, just to turn around and come back. And I got generous with our merch. Like that's what I see happen, because once I started saying, hey, listen, I got to take some time off. I need you guys to do some more things. I need you to take over the money, and I need you to take over the merch and whatever. And then we can come back and we can all work together at it and go from there. But either money or merch was missing. I didn't steal money, and I didn't steal merch. Guarantee what happened. I know for a fact that there were several shows that I gave some free things away, because these are people that came to see us. These are people that came all over the place. Some of these people had traveled all the way to Missouri to come watch us and play with and see us play. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I own it. I was in charge of everything, so it's all fallen on my shoulders. But it wasn't enough for everybody else, as far as, to ease their mind as to what happened. I think Brandon just wanted to go do his own thing anyway. I haven't spoken to him since end of September.
Don't know why, but he asked me on Snapchat.
Huh? I mean, it is what it is, I mean, that was my little brother, but I haven't spoken to him in months.
Yeah.
So, fine. The rest of us are fine. Josh and I are cool. You know, his heart wasn't going to be in it, is basically how it was laid out to me. And Chris, you know, he was kind of like, man, everybody else is gone. I'm not going to stick around either. But, you know, we're still friends. We've still hung out and things. And Christian is the only one that stuck around. And I mean, we mentioned it before. Christian was in Crushed with me. We've known each other and done this thing for so long. I couldn't do some of the things I'm doing without him. I really couldn't. You know, we're working on our own music now, and we're going to go at our own pace. We're going to build our own studio, and I've already been reaching out to some other local artists that I know and that I like and I appreciate, and I'm writing songs for them to do duets with me and with Christian, and we're just going to do our own thing, and that's it, you know? But, yeah, and I mean, other than that, I'm here. I'm here for this.
We're here to stay.
That's right. So
that would probably be, well, actually, we got one more. What's next for Drew Shepard?
What's next? Man, what isn't next? I feel like I'm ready to take over the world and help everybody that I can along the way.
Hell yeah.
And this podcast is my main concern right now, other than taking care of my kids, obviously. But that's a given.
That's a given.
So, yeah, that's me. That's my last couple years of existence here on Earth. That's what I'm up to. We need to get into talking about you now, sir. It is your turn to be in the hot seat. I'm going to interview you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, start from the beginning, man. Give us a background.
I am Jacob Michael Cooper. I was born in Galesburg, Illinois, to my mother and father, and I've moved to 4 different towns throughout my childhood. I didn't really have much of childhood. It was kind of interrupted, you could say.
Interrupted how?
Because we moved,
and
we lost childhood friends, and
so you just had to kind of restart every time.
Yeah, and we finally restarted. Well, I'm gonna say this: we've moved to Poplar Bluff, Missouri, Boone, Iowa, and here, Iowa, Kansas.
You've been everywhere, man.
Midwest.
Yeah. Okay. So what about like some hobbies and things that you enjoyed doing like in your childhood that you can think back now?
I remember I liked Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
I collected those. One of my friends, I think his name was Grant. He gave me some of his because I think they were fake. And I just took them until that one day I had to sell them for a garage sale, and I was like, no, didn't want to do that. Well, I would say another thing would be basketball, sports.
Yeah.
I like doing that. I remember making the winning shot for a basketball game when I was in Iowa. People were chanting my name.
Dude, yeah. That's awesome.
It was something I didn't expect.
Jacob, the sports hero.
Not now. Not now.
Man, I know it. I used to do a whole bunch of sports too, and now I'm like,
I'm regretting
no
sports.
thanks. Yeah, they hurt
Especially
me.
cross country and track. They hurt my back real bad.
Yeah, they were not kind to me either.
I feel you.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a writer.
Yeah.
That's the big thing here. Tell me how you got into writing.
Well, there's a little thing I had in high school, my senior year, which was creative writing with Miss Dvorak.
I loved the class. She was so weird.
She helped me get inspired to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I was making a play that I wanted to get published, which I haven't published yet because I've just had a hard time. But still, my senior year, I really got into writing.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be I was just into, say, songwriting or poetry, but I was actually really getting into it.
So what kind of things would you write? other than the songwriting and the poetry, like, did you do short stories? Did you try
Yes,
to
I
do...
did. I did short stories about uh, fantasy. Yeah, fantasy.
Okay, yeah. So what were some of your influences then? Like, what, as far as your style of writing, who were some of the writers that really influenced your style, you would say?
I would say Tolkien would be
Mm.
one. C.S. Lewis, another.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few others, but I have not had the best memory.
That's okay. It's okay. Neither do I. Like I said, I've had 8 concussions.
Damn.
It's hard to remember what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone artists. So you did all that,
Yeah.
but I know for a fact you were in a lot of plays and stuff too.
You would be
I
correct.
know that for a fact because I was in several of them with you.
Like 2.
Yeah.
Frog and Toad.
Frog and Toad and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were Tigger.
That's right.
You jumped out the stage.
Oh, dude. I didn't jump off the stage. I fell.
You like flipped off the stage.
I jumping out there, and I tripped and dirt rolled, and I was only supposed to go so far, and then ended up going all the way over. Oh no!
Oh shit!
Yeah,
You're gonna
the
fall.
whole way. I was like, oh shit! I almost forgot about that. That was funny.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Right, and you were Rabbit, correct?
Yes, I was right. And I believe the person who was directing this play was Mandy Moyer. She saw me as a demanding rabbit who likes to eat carrots and likes to march and have his own song.
Right, and I had ADHD. Just bounce around all the time. Man, that was fun though. Those were good times. That's really kind of how we formed our friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew each other in high school, and we were always cordial. We'd always talk, and
Either.
Didn't Crush actually come play a party?
Oh, they did. They did.
That's right. We did. We showed
There's
up.
a whole bunch of stuff laying around that was supposed to be for the party, and you guys just made your own little stage and just did your thing.
Yep. I kind of remember that. Well, man, yeah, we did a lot of fun stuff back in the day. So, I say all of this to kind of get our background together, but I'm going right back to this writing thing because you are about to publish a book.
Oh, you would be correct.
Tell me about it. Tell me about the book.
It's a kid's book.
Okay.
For about 4 years, I've been trying to do longer stories, chapter books, and it's just, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting burnt out in the middle of it, just not able to do it. And then I was like changing it up a bit. And then finally I was like, maybe if I do something like a kid's book, I'll be able to get it finished. And I did it.
So what's the age group of the book kind of targeted for?
I would say 4 to 8.
4 to 8. Okay. So kind of early development ages and stuff. What kind of book is it, man? I mean, it's a kid's book, but is there anything that you can tell us about it?
It's basically it's like this.
Mm.
I got the inspiration from what happened in COVID.
Mm.
Basically, how all the people had to work their butts off, and they still had to go to work, and they just don't feel appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I felt that maybe if I were to put a book with superheroes, but instead of it being superheroes, the role of the superheroes would be the people who were working their jobs every day.
That's a really sweet idea.
And just put them in that spotlight to make them look more appreciated to others. And basically the main focus of the story is appreciating those who have to work.
Appreciating the real
almost
heroes.
Every day.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really awesome of you. Because I don't think that really, I mean, it does, but it doesn't get touched on enough, I don't think.
I want to do something like Dr. Seuss. I tried to rhyme to keep it Seuss-like.
Right.
I know it won't have the art style because we're not quite there yet. I'm not going to say what the art looks like because, I don't think my publisher would like that if I had shown you.
Well, yes, but you've seen
Oh,
Some
I've
of you.
I've seen
You've
it.
seen it though.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's exciting, man. Like watching the
Watching
whole
it just-
process
yeah.
of your creation coming to life. I bet that's really cool. Like
Yeah, and I have a contract, and it's amazing.
So do you? What kind of a? Can you? This is the business guy in me. Is it a distribution deal?
I don't really know. I
So-
just know I just know I'm blessed to have the people that signed me to this contract. I'm so happy they accepted my story, gave it me a chance.
So who is your publisher?
Christian Faith Publishing.
Christian Faith Publishing.
They're the most chill people I've ever met.
Shout out to Christian Faith Publishing. Thank you for making this man's vision come to life. So I ask about the distribution deal because I heard it's gonna be in stores, correct?
Yeah.
It's gonna be out there, like at say like a Barnes and Noble or something like that. Like
Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so we can. There's gonna be physical copies, but there's
And-
also gonna be digital.
Yes.
Perfect. So, do you know kind of roughly a time frame when it's going to be dropping, or when we can expect Jacob's book? And can you tell us the title?
I don't think I can tell you the title, but
That's
I will
fine.
say
That's fine.
it is coming out in the summer. Well, that's my estimate. I'm not sure.
Okay. So we should be expecting Jacob's book in the summer, and
Summer or earlier.
if we get any updates on all this stuff, obviously we'll lay it out here on the podcast because I want everybody and their sister to go pick up a copy of this damn thing.
That would be great.
And I'm gonna buy like 3 of them.
That's amazing, man.
Yup. So that's awesome. So are you gonna do a release party?
Yeah.
You gonna throw a big party and do the whole thing?
With some friends.
That's awesome.
Obviously, you're invited.
Thanks. Man, if you want to make it a big party and do a whole thing,
Oh, it's gonna be at the house, and I don't want my little nephew to be up late, too late.
Of course.
We'll probably be on the deck, just chilling, relaxing, having some sodas.
I like it. I look forward to it.
And I'm glad you do.
All right, man. Well, let's kind of transition into some of the other stuff that we're gonna do here. Obviously, I'm a musician, and obviously I've made several connections throughout the year. I've met a lot of very interesting people along the way, whether it be an artist, whether it be photographer, whether it be whatever. But my focus right here, right now, with this next segment that we are calling Hidden Beats, is to showcase some of these bands. And we come from a part of the world here in southeast Kansas that has, honestly, some of the most talented musicians that you'll ever encounter.
Hidden gems.
But exactly, they're hidden. There's so many of us, but it's so hard to get out of this bubble out here. So that's what we want to do here.
And with YouTube the way it is, it's not easy to find them.
It's not. And I mean, not all of us were fortunate enough to get onto Spotify and those big major streaming platforms, This next band that I'm going to be introducing is, by the way. But, not all of them are. So we want to do our part to help the little guy out. And, I know these guys pretty well, and maybe we can bring them on and have a couple little chats with them down the line. So this first band here, our inaugural show, our inaugural Hidden Beat, if you will, is a band that is very close to me, From Ashes. Mitch, that was in Crushed with me and in Forever Faded with me, this is his current project. And I want to do everything that I can to help him out and help the other guys out. Corey and Conrad are super cool. Garrett's super cool. I heard they actually just are going through a singer change. So, good luck to them on that. Good luck to Mike on all of his future stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's play a couple songs for him. What do you think?
Okay.
Let's go ahead here. This one is called Fade Away, and this was their single. And I believe they actually went and recorded this at Soup Sound Studios as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so old Soup out there is doing some decent work for us. Real gritty, real intricate guitar parts, but still kind of heavy. And man, Mike's voice. Is this the kind of music you listen to?
Yeah, that's kind of music.
Alright. I don't know. Everybody likes different things, man. I listen to a lot of stuff.
Well, you're one of a kind.
I'm all over the place, man.
Jack of all trades, all that kind of jazz.
I'll be listening to something like this.
Then you will listen to Beethoven.
Right, it'll go into classical, it'll go into hip-hop, it'll go into some country even.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all over the place. We just love music over here.
Music is the best. It's the best way to express yourself, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel that way. You know, when words fail, music speaks.
It speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm. It's something I've tried to live by. It's easier for me as a musician and as an artist to get across what I want to say on paper and in song.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it's true. I mean, I could never say half the things I've sang. You know, and it all came from the same place.
Yeah. A world without music, that would be the worst.
Yeah.
It'd be like a world without color.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. There's a lot of things you just can't do without music.
No. I mean, it's... Someone said once that, like, art is decoration for, like, space.
Yeah.
But, like, music is decoration for, like, time. You know what I'm saying? It made more sense in my head.
Yeah.
The Whittly Diddlies from the Crab Man and from Corey. These guys are a lot of fun, too. We played a lot of shows with them when Forever Faded was still doing our thing. You know, we had them come play at the night of the release party.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our music video. There was like a countdown and everything, and I hosted it and brought everybody in, and we all counted down, and then we I need to check something. All right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we brought them in and they opened for us. So we did the countdown, showed the video to everybody, and then Mark Mullet, which
that guy.
we'll introduce him at some point, but he's off doing Mark things somewhere. Who knows? That guy's ridiculous. He was via satellite, and he and I had a bit of an exchange, and he introduced From Ashes for us. So that was kind of an interesting moment for everyone. But yeah, no, like, we played a lot of shows with these guys. We always had a lot of fun. Mitch was white girl wasted that night. Don't get mad at me, dude, but he like puked on himself.
Oh
no!
Oh
yeah, no, it was. We had a wild night for sure.
That doesn't sound like fun times.
Oh, it was a lot of fun though. I mean, honestly, because after that we're back to just having fun, doing whatever. But you know, yeah, we all went up and down the road together quite a bit and shared a lot of laughs and a lot of fun memories. But yeah, that's
Yeah. Should we over here?
That's what we got. Yeah.
That's what we get.
Yep. So we will work on we've got some more segments in mind. We didn't really want to overload everything with this first episode. We didn't want to bombard you guys. So, that being said, be on the lookout for some more stuff. I've got a few more interviews lined up down the way, and we'll be releasing those. Tune in. Thank you. This has been Formerly Faded, or the Double F cast, if you will.
With
with Jake and Drew.
yeah.